guys, Casey here and welcome back to another gardening episode. I believe we are on 13 now. Pretty sure on that. As you can see behind me, greenhouse isn't on. In fact, it's completely empty, and as much as I would love to say that's because all of the plants are permanently in the ground, it's not actually the case. Though it is empty, we do have to put some plants in there at night, specifically like the squashes and stuff, because it's still kind of dropping too cold. So my husband, set the flowers out for me today. Or the plants out for me today, and you can see he didn't cater to the Mexican gherkin. Well, obviously, the Mexican gherkin has gotten quite large. All the squashes are doing pretty good. The cucumbers are starting to get little trellisy tendrils on them. At least I think this is a cucumber. Should probably check. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, it's the jelly melon. The jelly melon's starting to get little tendril, curly thingies. Some mini bells here. So this is the African daisy, and I grew an African daisy last year, and I can tell you it wasn't this. This is not an African daisy, and every time I rustle it, it smells like basil. So I'm pretty sure that this is opal basil, and not even my African daisy plant. I don't think any of my African daisy seeds sprouted. So, fun little tidbit of information. This is not an African daisy, but yeah, it smells way too putrid of a basil plant to do that. And it's growing completely wrong from an African daisy, which I thought was kind of funny. What else we got going on here? So we've got the scallop squash. You see this? It's trying to set flowers already. Crazy squash. Eggplants, banana peppers. The broccolis are really leggy. That's okay. Shishito. And everyone over here is actually doing quite well. Here is the tray of zinnias, and then we've got the holy basil and some mystery plants back there. All the flowers that I started are doing pretty darn good. I actually liked the way I did it, so I don't think I ever went fully over it with you. I seeded them and left them outside and bring them in, but do not put them in the greenhouse at night. And first thing in the morning, they go back outside again. And this way, I don't have to harden them off. It's actually been quite lovely. The eggplants are fine. Notice there's only 2 of them. This guy I set outside and haven't given any attention to in a while. The freaking thing's still alive. Barely, but still alive. Celery's fine. Look at the size of the sunflowers, though. They're doing pretty good. I got some new flowers. We got a geranium and a petunia. Lemon basil's good. I don't know if these are actually my fruit smoothie zinnias popping up or if they're weeds. We'll find out. I did kill all of the herbs in this pot, so they're done. The cilantro is doing really good. It's having the time of its life out here. Some of its leaves are not liking the cool letter, but it's doing good, all in all. My mums are having a pretty hard time. Miraculously, all of the tomato plants are still standing after that gust of wind. So, I think I mentioned last video that I wasn't particularly happy with the state of my tomato plants, and that still holds very true. It's a little cold for them today, but it ain't gonna kill them. Obviously, this is the pink oxheart. He's been sad from day one. He's still sad. Given my plants have gotten better, this guy's obviously not handling the cold too well. I can tell you that right now, that is a sign of shock, cold shock, more or less. Not the yellow, but the darkness in his leaves. Same with the Wagner blue-green. He is still very curly, and I have a theory on both the Wagner and the pink ox hearts and why their leaves are like that. Like I had said previously that I fertilize with fish emulsion. I got pretty lazy with the way I mixed it. I literally just poured some in my spray bottle and put some water in there. And I'm pretty sure I burnt their roots. And that is why they are the way they are and have been since I transplanted them. And that is also why everyone had done that at one point. But by then, I had diluted it quite a bit. So they obviously were able to come back quicker and better. But all in all, I mean, they're alive. I can't complain. But even Tessa's landrace currant is having some tissues. They were fighting for sunlight. You can tell with all the yellow that they were getting sun deprived there for a while. So they've been outside solidly for the last 3 days. Last night it was 48 degrees, which is pretty cold. And the night before it was 50, which was fine. Tonight it's going to be 36, so we have to take them back up to the house and put them somewhere. And I think it's going to stay pretty cold for the rest of the week, so they still can't get planted unless I go off and I get a way to cover these trellises. I could plant them, but I would have to stretch basically greenhouse tarp from one end of the bed to the next to create a little teepee over the whole thing. And I'm not particularly down with that because it's costly. The onions, though, are loving the chill and the water and the rain. They've been having a blast with it. We did just plant yesterday the edamame up to this point. Since it's not actually getting below freezing, they should pop up. I did plant an eggplant. I planted the ugliest one I could find. And if it dies, oh well, but I do cover it up at night with the frost blanket, so it should be just fine, theoretically. Obviously, it's fine. Some more flowers. Replaced my mom's. Nothing in those beds are popping up, though we do have some apricot lemonade cosmos popping up, finally, which means it's warm enough for them to go to seed. Again, this was a trumpet vine that's sticking out there. I don't know if it's going to come back or not, but I did plant morning glories and moonflowers there as well. The garlics are all doing really good too. We do have some beets coming in on the second round here. And the first round of beets are growing slow and sure. And I'm pretty sure these guys growing in rows are carrots. Or I'm unlucky and it's a row of weeds growing. I'm not sure. We'll find out. The MI Gardener garlic is doing really good. I mean, the German Extra Hardy is getting huge. I mean, the thickness of this base compared to the ones next to it, these are the Chestnut, whatever, reds. And then the Persian Stars are pretty tiny all in all. Our original strawberries are doing pretty good. They're giving us flowers. These Jump Up Johnnies are starting to grow overboard. Oh, there was a frost. Look at that. There's totally ice in the strawberry bed. Crazy. I wonder what the temperature is right now. So, we've got some snap peas. He's starting to attach himself to the stick. The radishes are doing really good. The golden sweet pea is really starting to trellis quite well. And I don't know if this is a continuation of the first one or... Nope, it looks like it was the second one. I thought I had pulled them out already, but apparently I didn't. And some more radishes. We've got here the dragon tongue beans. And then the scarlet emperor beans have finally popped up. And the radishes. The radishes are doing really good. Look at that. Whoop whoop. So here I planted 5 of the wasabi radishes. Japanese wasabi radishes. So they're supposed to be super spicy and actually taste like wasabi. I know that counteracts what I said about spicy radishes, but I'm not going to eat them. My husband actually quite enjoys wasabi. I am pleased to announce that the broccoli actually is doing amazing. it's growing vigorously. This is the saddest leaf that was on there, and it's coming around. Everything else is doing really good, so the broccoli is actually turning into broccoli. I'm growing broccoli, guys. I did finally plant the scarlet kale because I got sick of looking at it. Again, we have been eating its leaves, so it doesn't really get a chance to grow. The blue curled Scottish kale is doing pretty darn good too. I did also plant the Purple Beauty bell pepper, and if it survives, fantastic. If not, oh well. And then the celery is just going to town, really. It's having a blast over here in its corner. So, I tell you what, it's actually quite cold out right now. I'm going to have to go inside and check the temperature, and I might have to take in a lot of these plants sooner. It's about 11 o'clock right now. It's supposed to be rainy and cloudy all day long, but fuck, it is cold. Like, seriously cold. It feels like winter right now, and I'm not happy with it. And I don't think my Mater plants are either. I mean, it would have to be a lot more exposed than this to kill them. And obviously they have no blooms to drop, so they'll be fine. I had last year, all of my tomato plants, I stuck them out well before there. By now they were in the ground, and I learned pretty quickly that that was not okay. So I had hardened them off prematurely and left them outside for probably 2 weeks in 30-degree temperatures, and they had all turned like black and blue and purple. They were not okay. And they ended up being just fine. I didn't kill them, but they definitely had some tissues there for a little while. They eventually came back and they gave us tomatoes, and they were fine. They lasted throughout the year. So I'm not really worried about these guys. What? Why are you barking at me? Why are you barking? No. No. Can't reach me. Hey, Chance, no. Darn dog. So I'm not worried about them sitting out here for today, really, in this cold weather. Really, they're gonna have to get used to it. I've already come to terms with the fact that I'm gonna have to plant them at like 45 degrees at night instead of 50, 55 really. So if they survive, they survive. If they don't, then that sucks majorly. But if I wait any longer, they ain't gonna grow and give me tomatoes anyways, because we only have till September. We pretty much are guaranteed a frost either the end of September or the first week of October almost every year. So I ain't got a whole lot of time. They're gonna have to go in the ground eventually. Anyway, that is it for this week's update. We're building a new greenhouse, and nothing much has changed beyond that. I planted some more flowers, and I haven't lost any plants this week. Well, I guess the basils, which actually I pulled a while ago. So yeah, that is it for this episode, and I will see you next week. Till then, bye. What's the temperature?
Right now, it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Today, expect a high of 54 degrees.
Well, theoretically, they'll survive.